So what all types of components you are using in your React application?
Yes, right now we are using in class component because this kind of PWA only follow the class component override concept. Earlier I was working with the functional component.
Okay, so what is the difference between class component and function component?
Class component and functional component is a stateless component. So before 16.8 version there is no any state. Yeah, we are passing a props through one to another component through as an argument.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Hey, yeah, your voice got freezed, so I cannot hear you properly. Can you?
Okay, okay, okay. Uh, is it clear?
Yeah, yeah, it is clear.
Okay. Functional component and class component is a stateful component. You can say there is some props and state. If you passing any data from one component to another component through the props and state, if you want to update any state, so we can use a set state method. But props we cannot change the value. So, but in functional component is a stateless component. So before 16.8 we are a stateless component, but after the 16.8 version in React hooks we are using a use state component. So these are the functional component, and in functional component we are there is no render method. In a class component we are using in render method.
Okay. So what all types of hooks have you worked?
Yeah,
Have you
there.
used?
Yes, use state. Use state. It means just same like a state and set state method. So we are defining import a use state and const value and set the method set value. React dot use state. We are initialize that value, and use effect we are using. Use effect, it is just a three life cycle method replaced with use effect. Component did mount, component did update, and will unmount, component will unmount life cycle method. It is just work like as a if you want to render once as a component, so component did mount life cycle method is rendered. Or if you want to update or changes anything in state, so that time component did update lifecycle method is using an use effect. And component will unmount, it means if you stop any component, so use effect is the last argument is in square brackets. So these working just like as the component will unmount life cycle method. So these are the three life cycle replaced with a use effect.
Okay. And what is the use of use memo?
Use memo actually is using in only for functional component. It is stopping re-rendering the component. It means if the same output, same props and state, there is the same output, so it is stopping re-rendering. If there is any changes in the state or some props, so that time is rendered that component.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, can you explain me your current project that is in React.js? So, how is the building process implemented in that?
Yes, actually, currently I am working in Fila and Proline. Both project were same. Is a e-commerce project, so online shopping project. So first of all, we have worked in checkout PDP page, some PDP page and checkout. First of all, if any user select the product, then after it will go to the PDP product page and it will select the swatch like a color and size. Then after it will check the pin code also. If they are giving the pin code number, and will check the check button if it is delivered for that product same pin code, so it will go click on the add to cart page. So then when they click the add to cart page, so it will go to the cart page, and the list product list will show on the cart page, and there are two buttons, checkout and view cart page. So checkout button, once you click on the checkout button, so first of all it will check if your user login or not. So if is logged in, so it will go to the checkout page, otherwise it will go to the login page. So in checkout page we have the using some functionality for is serviceable or means serviceable is true or false. This means pin code, if pin code is serviceable of that product or not. If it is serviceable true, then it will go to the billing page, otherwise it will we have using some functionality and showing some remove button for the product. So it will if their service is not available, so it will show the remove button, and the user can remove that product and go to the next page. And we have worked on order list page also. First of all, user uh, uh, user their product is ordered, so it will go to the my account my order page, and in order history it will you click on the order history, so it will show all the list of the order products. So we have showing some buttons for view order, and if you want to cancel item, it is cancel item and return button show only, it depends on the condition. If cancel button will show if order is confirmed or is in process, so otherwise the button will not show. And return is also we are using if status is true for returning, so that time button will show, otherwise button will not show. So when you click on the view order, so it will go to the next page view order, and it will show all the order quantity, total, and status also.
Yeah, but I actually asked you about the login process. How do you authenticate the user and all?
Login process, we are authenticate the some token barrier. We are using some token for in and that token we are storing in the local storage. So when the user is login, they are generate the some token
So how do you where do you store that token?
through local storage set item. That token we are storing in the local storage.
Okay. And what about the server side? How where do you store it in server side?
Server side, actually, sir, we are using Postman, so they for the credential, username and password, we are using some token. So that is the server side.
So how do you call your APIs from your application?
GraphQL, sir.
Have you used Redux? Can you explain me the flow of Redux?
Yes, Redux, actually we are using for actually we are using in some zip code functionality, so that time we are using some action and reducer file. So here we are using type and payload. Type is a pin code serviceability, and that type we are passing in the reducer we are using some through catch, switch, and switch case statement. So if pin code serviceability, all the pin code serviceability query is fetching through the store, and it will the that data is in a store through the provider, and it will go to the component through the connect method. And that connect method, we are using two method, map state to props. In map state to props, we are using some order list. Order list, it will show all the list of the items we are access through the map state to props. And map dispatch to props, we are using some reducers. So we are creating some function, and that function we are using in our component, and passing pin code serviceability as an argument. So once you click on the button save and continue, so it will go to the our component and take the reducers all the data. So if it is success, so it will go to the next page, otherwise will show the error message, show notification with try and catch.
Okay. So how do you make your Ajax calls from Redux?
Through the promise, we are using promise.
You're using promise.
Yes, sir.
What are promises?
Promises is asynchronous. They are for the resolve and reject. So first of all, we are using promise. Inside the promise, we are using some using query. Query. So if it is resolve, if it is success, so it will go to the resolve through the then method. Otherwise, if it is any error or some reject, so it will go to the catch method and will show the some error message. Error message will handle through the backend. So backend side will set the error message. We are only showing the that message in our front end.
Okay. So what are HOC?
Yeah, higher order component. So higher order component is a return new and original component. For example, there are two components, component A and component B, and the same component contains same functionality in both components. So this is a performance also decrease and time consuming. So there is no need for same functionality for both components. So that time we are creating a HOC component, higher order component. So that functionality we are using in HOC, and HOC just import in both component, and that component is take as an argument. So like HOC name, and inside small bracket, and then component A is just take as an argument. So these are the HOC. It means it is reducing the reusability functionality.
So can you explain me some runtime? I mean, actual case where you can use HOC.
Yeah,
Maybe in
actually,
your application where you have you might have used HOC.
actually before 1 year before, I have used in material UI na. So that time we are using uh, maybe create a one HOC. Actually there are some office project for returning, so palettes and some returning process. So same functionality you are passing in different component, like a palette name, palette ID, and product name and product ID. So that time we are using some HOC high order component, and we write a code, and only HOC will import in different component, like a palette component, printer, and return process, return confirmation component.
Okay. So what is prop drilling?
Props trailing?
Prop drilling.
No sir, I don't know prop trailing.
Okay. So can we have multiple reducers in a component?
I think multiple reducers. Yes, multiple reducers with a component. Yeah, we can use.
How can you implement that?
Actually, currently we are working like a pin code service ability. This one is a reducer, and other is for sign in reducer, and other one is for a uh, order listing reducer. We are using, so 3 to 4 reducers we are using in a single component. and passing the different functions.
So how do you merge them?
Combined reducer.
Okay. And are you aware of CI/CD concept? CI/CD pipelines?
CI Jenkins. Check in, check out something. No, sir. CI/CD I don't know. Only I have
Oh,
code push in the Git. So that's it.
okay. So you are using Git for version control.
Version control, yes, sir.
Okay. And are you aware of APIs, REST-based APIs? APIs.
Mm, REST APIs, yes, sir. Actually, we are using GraphQL. So that time, the backend team will give me the some query and APIs. So that time we are using our creating some query.js file.
Okay, but have you ever written any API on your own?
No, sir.
Okay. And any idea? I mean, any knowledge about Node.js?
Yes, sir. 6 month experience before 3 years. Uh, I have done some Node.js, only CRUD operation we have done. Like insert, delete, update. Only that's it.
Using Node.js. So how did you connect to the database?
Node.js database.
Yeah.
Um, Database through the course, I think. Database through the sir calls or post get method. Actually, it's a long time. Actually, I forget it.
So what was the backend part?
Sir, backend part, so I didn't use. Currently is a GraphQL. I have used only API, some queries in GraphQL, and then earlier I was Java. So some Spring Boot. So but backend team will help us. So backend. So
So in Java, what exactly you have done in Java?
no, sir. Actually, backend team will handle all these things. I have done only some changes. So backend team will tell us there is some changes in Spring Boot, so you can run this one. So fully backend I am not handle. So
Okay. Okay. And what about the unit testing part? So how do you do your unit testing?
no, I didn't do. So unit testing actually enzymes or Zest. Uh, in triple B earlier I was using bed bath and beyond some unit testing, but I didn't write any test cases. So only is in our file we are using it because other team is write the test cases.
Okay. So you have not worked on Jest or Enzyme.
No, sir, no, sir. Only
Okay.
sometimes if in our front end changes na, so that time we are using in test cases file we also remove that some particular function or some particular variable, so that time we are using, that's it. We will
Okay.
test cases remove in the test cases also will remove, so that time also work, but I can't retain in the test cases also.
Okay. So have you worked on any project from scratch in React.js?
Yes, sir. Material UI Hafiz project I have done in scratch, and this one Fila, not from scratch but to mid of the project will start. And Hafiz is the Army Air Force project we have from the scratch. we have done this is the duration of 6 months, so I have done almost things like order id page, and will create a return process, order details page, palette details page. Actually there are two modules for the admin. There are two administrator admin, and some other is a uh, easy part for product. So that time we are using, but it is basically all the material UI.
Okay. So currently in your project, so how many team members are working with you on React?
In React, only two members, including me, for Fila, and other team members is they are working for backend team is also two, and the testing QA team also almost in Fila is 8 members. Then other
So, so the other team member you said along with you. So
no,
that
and
person is a senior or a junior?
it's a mix up, senior junior mix up.
No, no, I'm talking about the person who is working with you on React.
Junior.
Okay. So did you get a chance to manage a team or something?
Yes, sir. I can.
Okay, if I suppose give you one new project to start from scratch, will you be able to do it?
Uh, yes, sir.
Can you tell me the steps, what all things you will take care before starting the project?
Actually, right now I am not leading, but I'll try how to start, sir. Actually, first of all, we are, for my knowledge, we can. Uh, First of all, team will understand that the project. So, what can we do, and which technology we are using, and different modules we are explain our teams also. So, and we are creating some Jira tasks for individual developers. So that time we are handled. First of all, we understand the project for every developers.
Okay. So do you know what is lazy loading concept?
Uh, Lazy loading concept. Yes, sir. Some fallback and suspense we are using in our component. So that time, if you want to before load that component, so this that time we are using some lazy loading. So once we'll render that component, then after it will render second time it will render the component. This is a fallback or suspense we are using in lazy loading.
Okay. What is the use of package JSON?
Package.json.
Yeah.
Yes, package.json. Actually, we are installing some dependencies. Like first of all, it will contain the React version, and we have worked in Zendex. So if we are installing the Zendex, so all the dependencies we are installing. So this is a package.json file. Inside the package.json file, version, name, and this one, and
So there are
proxy
two
also.
files. One is package.json and another is package.log.json. So what is the difference between both of them?
Package.log, when if particular actually, for example, we are using Zendex or some Google Analytics. So that time when installing the Zendex, so it will install in the version in package.json, but in package.log it is also save in the package.log. But once you clear or uninstall, so that time package.log file is removed. So uh, this is the package.log file.
And what happens when we execute npm build?
npm build, that time it is a compiler, so if there is any error in your uh, project, so that time it will show. So npm build, so after npm install you can npm build you can use, otherwise you can npm start. It's a compiler.
Okay, what happens if the npm build is successful?
npm build is successful, so if there is no any error in your application, so you can start npm start.
Okay, so is that the only purpose of npm build?
No, actually npm build, before I was working, so that time npm build, no? So some test cases is um, getting some failed, so or some component will fail, so that time when we run the npm build, so there are showing so many test cases or so many errors in words when we run the npm build, so that time we will resolve the test cases or component if any fail, so then again for npm run build.
Okay, can we modify the way to start the project? Can we modify that command
No, I didn't get your point. Modify the command means
to start the project?
yarn install or yarn build, this one.
No, npm start and all.
npm
Can
start.
you?
Hmm?
Yeah, so can we give some default options or something?
Yarn install, npm install. Before npm install, clone the application, this one, clone the project, or you
No,
mean
no, no.
npm
I'm talking
create
about
a.
npm. I'm talking about when we start the project, npm start, when we execute the project.
Yes,
So can we customize that?
means code review.
No, calling execution, running the project.
Running the project, it means npm start.
Yeah, so can we by default send some parameters or something?
Parameter. No, sir, we can directly call the yarn start or npm start.
Okay, so you are using Yarn or npm right now?
Right now yarn, so npm both, but this Candy PWA support only yarn.
Okay, so suppose you have to deploy your React application on some of the servers. So how will you do that?
First of all, we
If
are
I
in.
give you,
Mm,
yeah, if I give you a fresh server and you have your React project that you have started from scratch on your local system, so how will you deploy that in server?
so first of all, we are installing all the React packages. So React app, and we are creating some folders and yarn install, npm install, then React DOM, React packages. If Axios is required, then Axios, and if then after npm install, and then npm start. And if you in your code is in git, so we can clone the project first, git clone.
Okay. Okay. So how many years of experience you have? You said
Total 5.11, 3 years.
3 years in React.
Yes, sir.
And what about the rest of the experience?
1 year in Angular.
Okay, okay. Okay, fine. I think, Subui, that's all from my side.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so let me give the feedback to HR and she will get back to you on this.